What's up, idols? It's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today's story time is about a very complicated hookup in Seoul. We're back on Disney Princesses, and as requested, she's gonna go by Bo in this story. Little Bo Peep from Toy Story. She doesn't want people to know who she is if like her family or her friends are watching, and you guys are gonna see why soon. So Bo is in her 30s, and she feels like she's too old for the club scene, all the games that younger people like to play. She's also not a fan of dating apps. She's not a fan of just how people overcomplicate dating these days, where they say one thing but mean a totally different thing. So Bo was actually engaged for 5 years to her partner before the events of this story unfolds. They were together for over 5, but engaged for 5. And one thing she wanted me to tell you guys, if you feel like your partner is hesitating, wasting your time, trying to rewind the clock and slow things down, it's not always worth it to stay, because they could be unsure about you and they're hesitating probably for a reason. So yeah, she says she feels like she wasted too much of her precious time dealing with this guy who was her fiance. So with that relationship over with and done, she does admit that, she's not eager to rush into a new relationship, but she does miss affection and intimacy. I mean, she hasn't been with anybody else in over 5 years, like that makes sense. Now, because she's in Korea and she's a foreigner, she knows what's coming. She's heard the stories from her friends, she's seen the videos online, the TikToks, the reels, the vlogs on YouTube, but she figured, I'm only looking for peen, so like how difficult could this be? I mean, she's a foreigner in Korea looking for someone to sleep with. That should be easy enough. So she makes her Tinder profile and posts exactly what she's looking for, and she even posts some suggestive, sexy pictures to like get the ball rolling. Get it? Like the balls rolling. Like when they see her sexy pictures, they're gonna come running like,
what you said? What you said?
All the matches came flooding in. And what's funny is when the matches came, the first messages went like this: FWB, when can we meet? ONS, you want? Really? Can I come over tonight? Do you live alone? I want to see you now. I please you tonight, baby. Hook up with open mind? So yeah, you get the idea. So much peen, how do you choose? One of the main issues she had was that a lot of the profiles were either not her type or her style, she wasn't attracted to them, or they didn't have any pictures. There were profiles where the only picture was a cat, a dude's feet,
that's nasty,
the park, or zoomed in and cropped on somebody's face just wearing a mask and a hat. Sketchy, right? Like, who's gonna invite a man to their house and they don't even at least know what they look like? So it wasn't pretty hard to narrow her down, because she did come across one profile that she was interested in where she could tell it was him. He was verified, he had a lot of pictures, he looked really good, he was fine. He left a message and said, hey cutie, you looking for FWB? Now one thing she said is based on his profile she could tell he was a fuckboy. This didn't bother her because she was only looking for dick anyway.
No more dick! Keep no more dick!
She said what made it obvious that he was a fuckboy was like a lot of club pics, the way he was posed, his haircut, his style. He was young and attractive. So when he asked, are you looking for FWB? She said, that depends on you. She replied to him. So when he asked what she meant by that, she said, as long as you're not some psycho or a catfish and it's just a hookup, then yes, you can fill the position. Anyway, so he gave her his IG so she knew that it was actually him. He wasn't like a catfish, and he messaged her from his Instagram account. He DM'd her and said, is this good enough for you, sexy? I'm trying to come over ASAP. So she went on ahead and invited him over. But like, Bo's about to be intimate with a guy for the first time in over 5 years, so she's nervous, as you can understand. She wanted to make sure she cleaned up her place a little bit, took a shower, smelled good, dressed sexy, but not like too sexy like she was trying to be sexy. He also said he lived about 15 minutes away, which she felt great about because she wouldn't feel as bad about kicking him out when they were done. Like, he doesn't have a far journey home. So he said he has some things to do first, but then he'll be over. And she said, great, I've got some things I gotta get done first too. Fast forward about 2 hours, and he arrives to her apartment looking fuego. By the way, we'll call this guy Jun. So not only does Jun show up to her apartment looking really good, he also brings wine and pizza.
Rusty cray, pizza!
Like, she feels like this is like a girls' night now, or it became a sleepover or something. She's like, wait, is it normal for people to bring things
when it's just a hookup?
He didn't mention he was bringing anything. She's like, wait, is this Korean culture? Is this hookup culture? So yeah, he brought wine, but unfortunately she only had one wine glass. So that's awkward. And he said before they get started, he needs to refuel, and he wanted to drink a bit with her. But yeah, homie made himself right at home. He came over with his charger, his phone charger. He came over with like a sweater, like a hoodie, and some sweatpants to change into later maybe. Now that detail is very important to remember for the fucked up thing he does to her later in the story time. So yeah, not only is he looking good and bringing stuff, but he's also risen her up too. He keeps telling her how nice her apartment is, how beautiful she is, how great the place smells. He says she looks younger than she is. He's surprised that she matched with him. He's surprised that she was real. So yeah, they're talking and drinking and everything, and she was kind of getting worried that he was drinking too much and he might end up with whiskey dick.
What the hell is even that?
You know, when a guy gets too drunk to perform properly, perform without a soldier that stands at attention. So he's being really funny and she'd enjoyed his company, but she's like, wait, I can't let this happen. She's like, I can't afford another heartache, not so soon. I know what they do, like they're gonna smash and they're gonna ghost. Let me not get invested in this. That was her mantra. So Bo was trying to make sure this was a hookup and nothing else. She just got out of a long-term relationship with a called off engagement. Last thing she needs to do is smash a fine man and have him ghost her too.
He's a phantom.
So they eat and drink and get busy. Well, they're about to get busy. As they're, you know, touching each other and stuff, she asks, hey, did you bring any condoms? Of course, homie ain't bring none. But he said, don't worry, I'm not planning to get you pregnant yet.
What do you mean by that?
What the fuck does that even mean? So she said, bro, nothing's happening without a raincoat. So he popped out to the store and he decided to go get some finally. So they finally do boom boom. And she said at first she wasn't like that into it, but they did go a few rounds and he started to last longer. He got better.
Hopefully, you can last all night, don't get too excited.
So yeah, the first round was a warm up.
Yesterday was kind of a warm-up. I feel like round two, I feel like we can go a bit harder. Go harder for round two?
So now that they've done the deed, it is time for him to go. They both fulfill their contractual obligations. So they're laying in Bo's bed, and this is when he decides to start asking her more personal questions like, so what's your type? When was your last relationship? Could you see yourself with me? Immediately, she did not like where this was going.
Oh, I made a mistake.
So she's like, oh, woo, that was fun, John, but you should get going, right? Like, it's late, the rain stopped, you good to go now, right? You're 15 minutes away. He said he thought he was staying over for the night, hence the change of clothes, I guess. Like, he said he was hoping they would do it a few more times throughout the night. She said, you know, nah, I'm good. This was fun and all. It was nice to meet you. Thanks for the pizza and the wine. But like, we did what we were supposed to do, so you should get home. So as she's like helping him get towards the door and pack up his stuff, she's helping him pack up his stuff. Please remember this. He asked if they could see each other again. And Bo said, you know, I really don't think that's a good idea because we did a hookup. Like, that's what happens. We already did this. Why we don't need to make this something that is not. I just gotta pause this story and say it's really interesting to see this like dynamic reverse, because usually traditionally, stereotypically, whatever, when a guy and a girl hooks up, then the girl's like, so tell me about your childhood, and she wants to get to know more about him. And that's when the dude is like, your Uber's on the way. But she did say that she was in her post-engagement villain arc. So at this point, Jung got a bit defensive and asked why they can't see each other again and said, we got along great, like what's the big deal?
Stop it. Get some help.
She said, this is a hookup, right? Like, you sleep together once. If you decide to keep it going, you can do that. But we did the definition of a hookup already. And then Bo's like, I'm confused because isn't this what guys want? She's like, I've heard the stories about you smash and then you ghost. Like, that's what y'all do.
We know who they are and what they do. This is what they do, and we must fight back.
But he again repeated himself and said, I really enjoyed my time with you and I'd like to do this again. And she repeated herself and said, you got to go.
There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
So he finally got it and he left her apartment. And she's like, Jesus, like what the hell was that? That's not how she expected that hookup to end. She thought he'd be like, yeah, thank you, bye. So for the next few days, he did try to contact her. First, it was via Tinder, but she unmatched him. Then it was via IG and she blocked him. And then he also tried texting her, but she ignored his texts. So as the days went on, she went back about her life as usual, and she actually thought about hooking up again with someone different, someone who could actually do it and then just go, someone maybe a little bit better in that situation.
I'm better. I am better.
She liked the no strings attached sort of pleasure. So one day, she comes home from work and she's really tired, long, annoying, busy, crowded commute, and all she wants to do is shower, eat, get in bed, watch some TV, and relax. All was good until she got a knock at the door. And she doesn't get a lot of company. She doesn't know a lot of people in Korea, and they especially don't show up unannounced. So she kind of just waits a minute, and then they knock again. So then she cautiously gets to the door, sees who's at the door, and it's the police at her door.
Hold up. Hey. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.
So she opened the door, concerned, confused, and a little scared, and asked like, what, can I help you? So the police verified her name, and they told her that she's been accused of withholding someone's property. So she of course is like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know anyone. So for some reason, the police were there to facilitate the transfer of Jun's things from Bo back to Jun. So yeah, Jun was there too, and this is the first time he's seen her face to face since she stopped responding to him and they hooked up. So yeah, remember he came over with pizza and wine and his phone charger and some clothes to change into, but Bo helped him pack as she was kicking him out. So apparently his charger was still there, and she's like, oh my god, my bad, like I didn't know your charger was still here, you could have told me. She gave him his charger. But he also claimed he had a phone that was left there, and she knew that his phone was there but was keeping it from him. Like, is all this just to see her again? Is all this to get her in trouble?
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason, bitch?
So yeah, she gave him the charger, but insisted there is no phone here. Like, what are you talking about? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm in the middle of editing this story time, and this whole phone situation involving the police reminded me of something that happened to one of my friends in 2018. She had went clubbing in Hongdae at Sabotage, and it was a drunk Korean girl and her boyfriend who came up to her and told her that she broke their phone. No proof, no evidence or anything. They barely spoke English, she barely spoke Korean, and they told my friend to give them money to repair their broken phone, even though there's no proof or evidence that my friend caused their phone to break or be damaged. They went and got the police involved, and the police made her hand this Korean couple money to fix the phone. I can't remember the amount, but it wasn't something minor, because I remember she was really pissed and really upset about it later when she told me what happened. Sorry, back to this story time. She said you can call this phone that's here, you can track it or whatever. I've not seen a phone here for the past few days. So the police is like, well, there's nothing more we can do. Like, we can't search her apartment. So then the police are telling Jun it's time to go, but he is not leaving without this imaginary phone. So unless he had two phones somehow and hid one without her knowing, he only has the one, because when he left her apartment reluctantly, he did use his phone to try and contact her again. He tried to text her. So unless he has two phones, he was using his phone to communicate with her after the hookup. He left with his belongings. But he insisted that his property was inside and she was hiding it to be petty. So at this point, Bo reluctantly explains to the police what's going on here. She had one of her friends call in to like help translate the situation because she doesn't speak Korean that well, but she has a friend who speaks Korean really well, and she could communicate with the police for her. So she explained she has no reason to be petty. They met up once and she was good with that. She didn't want to see him again, but he kept wanting to see her. And she showed them the text. She's like, if he really left his phone here, how come none of these texts say, I need my phone, I left this at your house, where's my charger? Yeah, nothing. The messages were like, when are you free? Do we really end like this? Can I not see you again? Why won't you reply? So with that was evidence enough that the police needed to get Jun away from her and leave, because obviously there's no phone in there. He not once did he say, I need my phone, I left my phone at your place in those messages. So the police believed her, luckily. His Korean ass called the Korean police on this foreign girl, knowing whose side they would take.
I'm in disbelief. This bitch.
Trying to make it seem like she stole from him.
Oh, she stole something, all right. His heart.
This could have been really bad for her, and she could have been in a lot of trouble. But thank God that's where it ended. So your homeboy called the police on this girl because she wouldn't hook up with him again or date him after their hookup. Bo, this was short and sweet. Thank you so much for sending in this story. Like, it's a cautionary tale, because sometimes I guess guys do get attached and they want more, and when they can't have the more, then they do shit like this and call the cops on you. But yeah, somehow we're always told that women are the crazy ones. Crazy is equal. Men and women are both crazy. If you enjoyed this story time, please binge the other stories on my channel. They're put together conveniently in a little playlist for you. They're about to pop up on the end screen. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Annyeong.